on the values of African people. And therefore, some of the programs that we shall embark upon in carrying out this mission will be awareness programs, consciousness programs, and educative programs. And further, we shall strive to contribute to the empowerment of the previously, but still disadvantaged people. We are an apolitical party. We don't subscribe to any political party, and we shall remain as such. And further on, we will do anything else for the association, with the association, anything that we consider necessary and desirable in order to advance the human rights. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kgoro Conversations. This is one of our flagship programs meant to stimulate dialogue and to get Africans talking amongst themselves on issues affecting them. Most of you will know the Kgoro in the African traditional setting, a very important institution within our African communities. Kgoro has always served as an institution through which persons of specific communities interfaced with one another. And in that interface, important issues were discussed. And in most villages, and I'm a village boy myself, Kgoro is still very much alive in my community. However, it is not utilized in the same manner as it was in the past. So through Kgoro Conversations, we aim to bridge this gap. Let us be a conversing society. Let's talk amongst ourselves and try find solutions that are affecting us as Afrikana people. Thank you very much, Mahat. I will end there.
Dr. Kubiana, for giving us this warm welcome to your platform. And to agree with you, you are very right. Kgoro is a very important component of our society, especially in villages. Although Kgoro was patriarchal in nature during those days, because it was not really open to women. But post-1994, we have seen Kgoro evolving. We have seen Kgoro trying to be a progressive institution that have given women an opportunity to come and join them in resolving issues in the community, in resolving disputes in families. So we really appreciate Afrikana for bridging the gap and also bringing Kgoro in town, because Kgoro is an institution in villages, but also to bring Kgoro in, in online platforms, because society is moving into fourth industrial revolution. And as such, we need to have Kgoro everywhere we can. So that's what I wanted to say, just to agree with you. So Magareshu, again from my side to say that this is not going to be our show. We are going to converse as Africans, because other races do have their platform where they discuss issues to build society, issues to progress as a nation. So we appreciate this platform so that we also can have a platform where we can engage. But going forward with regard to today's session, we saw a need that, because according to our South African calendar, the 9th of August is declared as a holiday, which is known as the Women's Day. So we saw it as a need that we need to have a conversation prior to the 9th, so that we can sensitize, society about challenges that women face, victories that women have registered, and many other issues that affect us as women. As you have seen our topic, we are trying to speak about positioning women into the mainstream economy, women empowerment in terms of transforming the economy. So those are some of the issues that we'll be talking about. So tonight, I'm not alone. I have 2 panelists. Unfortunately, we were supposed to have 3 panelists, but then one of the panelists has given an apology, as I said earlier on. So with me, I have progressive women who are, still relatively young, but are doing amazing work in society. Women who are not just sitting back and say that society is a patriarchal in nature, so there's nothing we can do, but they are doing everything in their power to make sure that they empower themselves and those around them. So I will be conversing with Mokgadi Moloko-Mabela. Mokgadi is the founder of Native Nosi. She will tell you more about it. Mokgadi is a DJ. She has DJed in corporate events. She has DJed in social events and many other platforms. She's a mother. She's a wife. So amongst all those roles, she still finds time to contribute to the economy of this country. So, but I'll also be having Mabure Mogashwa. Mabure is also another progressive woman. She's an author. And the beauty of it is that she writes in her home language, Sepedi. She's a heritage activist. Mabure is also a poet and a singer and also a traditional healer. And she's also a mother. So out of all those roles, she still also finds time to contribute into the economy, because many people think that writing a book or becoming an author, you are not participating in the economy, forgetting that for one to get a book out, there are a lot of resources involved, and also you must get your returns. So that on its own is contributing to the economy. So without wasting much time on the platform, I want to take this opportunity to welcome my guests, or rather the panelists. And I'm going to start with Mokgadi just to give her time to introduce herself. And also, after she has done that, Mabure will also come in and introduce herself, and then we'll start with the conversation. Mokgadi, over to you.
Thank you, Makgatla, for the introduction as well as the platform to participate in this important conversation. And thank you again to the hosts who are the members of Choro, as you have indicated, who have also given us the space to talk, to engage, to dismantle important issues that we face in society as people, as mothers, as women. My name is Mokgadi. I am the founder of Native Nosi, which is a beekeeping company that specializes in pure raw honey production, as well as pollination services to crop farmers, largely in Limpopo and in the periphery provinces, which are Northwest, Mpumalanga, and Gauteng. We are in the business of ensuring that we reduce the import ratio of honey importation into the country by offering people a product that they are familiar with, especially those of us who grew up in the villages and the rural areas of our country. I am from Limpopo, and my husband is from Botlokwa. So we are very much rooted into activities that are not only going to empower us, but also to contribute to the provinces which we came from. All our beehives are in Limpopo province, because from an agricultural perspective, that is where we found our home and that is where we are most productive. I am also a DJ, which I had been doing much more actively before I was married, but due to family responsibilities, I mostly focus on corporate events where I am able to give a service of music and entertainment. And we are a family that loves music. So even when we are not doing it formally, we are able to enjoy music at home with our family and our children. I think that sums up the background about myself. Over to you, Makgatla.
Mabure, are you there? Over to you. Just give a brief overview of who you are.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. I just hope I'm visible. I'm in a car.
My name is Mabore Mugashwa. I'm from Limpopo. I'm an author, I'm a poet, I'm a traditional practitioner, I'm a mother, I'm a songwriter, and I'm a heritage activist. I'm the founder of Mabore Sitabudi, which is on the art side of the business. So anything that has got to do with art, that is poetry, writing, even motivational speaking, and I also use the background that I have of indigenous language, of indigenous knowledge, and also what I know about activism to teach about people to plant a seed of heritage love, to protect and love what they have, because without heritage, we don't know who we are. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Maborile Mokhadi. I see that you guys are very modest, because Mokhadi it's a fellow alumnus of Mail and Guardian Top 200 for the year 2020. And Mabore is also an award-winning author. She just won a Pen Slap Award just recently this year. So I see that you are being modest in terms of introducing yourself. So I just wanted to highlight that you guys are ordinary women doing extraordinary work. So for me, I think that the women's struggle have started even way before 1956. It's just that 1956 is just a notable year in history, because when we're talking about the economy, people who have been holding it together, it has always been women. We know our grandmothers used to sell traditional beer to send their children to school. We know that when our grandfathers were migrant laborers, our grandmothers would do anything to hold the family together. So we know that even now, post-1994, you walk the streets in any town, people who are holding the informal economy are women. You see women selling fruits, trying to send their children to school and do all those kind of things. So I just want to take it to you, Mokhadi, that what has really motivated you as a woman to really enter the business that is mostly male dominated? Because you see, business of beekeeping, it's not every day that you hear that a Black woman is in a business of beekeeping. So I just want you to take us through that. What has really motivated you to get into the business of beekeeping?
Thank you so much. So basically, I am from a family of farmers. My grandfather was a crop and livestock farmer, and my father had an interest in beekeeping because on his farm, on my grandfather's farm, he had a few beehives that were meant to pollinate the crops of his farm so that he can get great quality as compared to the other farmers in the area. And my father gravitated towards the beekeeping. And that's what he has also been doing while I was growing up. As you know very well, you've raised the issue of patriarchy. There was never an intention beekeeping and instill it in me, because I'm a woman, I'm a daughter who is a firstborn, followed by two other younger sisters. So there was never an intention. I think from the generation that my father came from, it was not common for a man to intentionally teach morwedi ya gagwe gore a kgone go tšea tsebo ya whatever it is that he was doing, in his case beekeeping, so that I can continue a family legacy. So I used to wait for him when I know that he's going farming and he's probably coming back with a harvest. And my love for honey started because of my father. And I had to fight to actually get him to understand that, you know, I am serious in selling this honey, because initially it was just a love of me sharing this product with people who I realized were having an inferior quality honey. And I was like, guys, there's better. You know, we've got better in Limpopo. I can bring you some of what my father does. And that kind of snowballed. And in that process of me wanting more stock from my father, you know, asking for, you know, more farmers from his network so that I can also offtake the honey and sell it. It took a lot of convincing. I remember I was telling my mother that Mohadi what's about Zenakamo, you know, it's not easy. It's a very difficult, you know, practice. It's a very difficult job. And she's a woman, she's black, she's young. You know, her chances of actually making it are very slim. And I think he was talking from the worry that a father would have for his daughter. And I think for the longest time, he was not understanding why I would want to continue. So for me to get into this business of beekeeping, it was a means to an end, a means in terms of me learning how to deal with bees so that—
Mahadi, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a
Other colleagues in the meeting, are you able to hear me? Or are you able to hear Makgatla better?
We can hear you quite well.
You're very audible.
So the problem is with Makgatla.
Yes, so we can hear you clearly.
Okay, so I think I should continue while she tries to reconnect. Okay, I'm getting chats that I am very audible. So I think I will continue, and when she gets back, I will just put her up to speed of where I am. So I then, you know, started selling the honey formally, and the business started growing from there. I don't think there was a point in which I allowed the stereotypes of the people who are in the industry to dictate my path, because I knew I had a very, very superior product. And it was not superior because I was doing anything special to it. It was superior because I was taking exactly what the bees made and offering it to our people. And also we will know that Limpopo is very, very superior when it comes to the agricultural produce. We have great quality produce, we have learned farmers, and we are very advantaged when it comes to the agricultural sector. And I was then harvesting honey from Limpopo and also buying honey from farmers in rural Limpopo who otherwise had no access to market. And then I was offering it to the urban market in Pretoria, which is where I stay. And that continued until I started opening an online shop, because the demand was such that I was not able to get the product to everybody who was involved. And then I started doing courier deliveries throughout the country. And that was all happening from my home. But then in the meantime, the family is growing, you know, and then the activity from for conducting a business from home was just too great, and the traffic was too much. And then we decided to open the Native Nose Honey Emporium, which is based in Pretoria, Menlo Park. I'm hoping some of you have heard about it or have been there or have ordered from it. And then from there, that is where we found our home so that we can be able to package the honey and distribute it countrywide, but also have a space where we could also then package and be able to distribute it. So it was both a working space, and then it's also a retail interface to allow people who were previously only, you know, interacting with us online to be able to come into the store, you know, talk to us, meet us, interact with our products, you know, and have a better understanding of who we are and why we do what we do, and understanding our story better. I think in the absence of Makgatla, I can give over to our fellow panelists to actually also indicate to us why, when we know South Africa is so, it's only recently and mostly in the food space where you have females who are now writing books, who are now continuing to become, pioneers of this industry. And also, I think from autobiography and writing stories about their lives. But generally, it's not a space for women, to be having books, unless, of course, it's fiction most of the time. So I think I can give over to my fellow panelists to continue the question that Makgatla asked, to say, how did you find yourself here? And looking at the arts is not really a space where Black people or, people generally believe is a career, is a viable career where a person can thrive, a person can be able to live, and also, be an economic leader, if such, from being an artist. So I believe my fellow panelists can then go over to continue from Makgatla's question. Thank you.
Good evening again. It's Mabore for those who joined just now. I'm a writer and I'm an author. I'm proud of it. For me to be an author, I studied. I went to school. I worked. Then, when you grow up, there are challenges that you face. And for some reason, I had to answer my calling. And remember, I grew up in Limpopo. I grew up in a rural area where we did everything. We used to collect water. We used to collect wood. We used to do so many things. And while I was practicing and I was sitting down, back in 2018, I started attending meetings for people who had challenges, especially those who are around mining areas. We all know what mining is doing to our people. And I was looking at the land, I was looking at the rivers, I was looking at the plants, the waste that is around. And I thought, with the knowledge that I have, the indigenous knowledge that I have, our heritage is being destroyed. And trust me, if you don't do something in 10 years or 20 years time, we won't have anything. And there are so many challenges now. There's poverty. There are a lot of diseases. We complain about our kids. And you can ask yourself, who should we blame? Our kids or we as parents? Because everything is a mess now. We just heard about an accident late few weeks ago, that there were children that died because of they were going to drink somewhere, and it's not a very good story. And as a parent, I sat down and thought, sometimes writing, not everyone is reading, but there should be something that we are doing to make our people be aware that, with heritage, we've got our roots, we've got ways of living. It can be culture. It doesn't matter whether you are Zulu, you are Pedi, or you are Venda. But we've got ways of living. We've got Ubuntu. And immediately, I thought, I wrote my book in 2018. I was just writing. I wasn't planning of maybe writing a book that everyone can talk about. And I looked at the other things, and I thought, the book, in it, beside culture, I can include climate change. Everyone is complaining about climate change now. And most of the people don't even know what climate change is. When you tell them about waste, we buy food, we just throw everything away. Then I included the part of climate change in it. And I included the part where we teach people about our food. Nowadays, when you eat renalidi khobe, where they cook mealie, where they cook mealies or sorghum, their beans, when people look at you while you're eating, they'll think maybe you are poor or they won't respect you. We eat junk food, and there's no one who's teaching us the problems that comes with the kind of life that we are living now. And with the book, like I said, I'm planting a seed of heritage love. There are a lot of people that are not working right now. They are unemployed. And if you all look at government, how many people will they get job from the government? You know, as Africans, we are talented. We learn so many things from our parents. We learn so many things from our grandparents. And we've got talent. And I also gave an example of one tree, marula tree, to encourage people to create jobs. You know, if you know something, use that thing to create a job. You can start with yourself. And once your business is growing, that's where you can hire people. Then it's job creation. Then we can prevent so many things that are happening now. Look at the SASA grant, the SRD grant. How much is it? It's 350. And if you've got a lot of children, or let me say, I've got 4 kids, then what will I do with that amount? It's less. And you can get the grant, maybe do something. So many things. And if you start, yes, it's difficult to get funding. It's difficult to find someone who can encourage you or who can help you to grow your business. But when you push as a woman, you do something. And like now we are suffering. We are suffering because the things that are happening are frustrating us, especially our kids. We must study, yes. We should go to school. We must go and learn. But when we come back, we sit at home, there's no jobs. Then what must we do? And again, me as a heritage activist and a traditional practitioner, I'm looking at how our things are being treated. You know, when you come as a traditional healer, they look at you, they expect you to wear kanga all the way. When you write, they say, she's a traditional practitioner. You know, they label you because of who you are. They forgot that as a woman, you know, you can work, you can be a doctor, you can be a nurse, you can be something else and be a traditional healer. Traditional healing is just a gift that your ancestors give you to assist people, to be a middleman, I can say, between the ancestors and the people that are living. And sometimes as a woman, they look at you. And there are so many people that, because you are a woman, they see your work as if like the quality is not that good. Of which, imagine the world without women. It's going to be a disaster. Women do so much, but the support that they get is not enough. Look in the rural areas, the information. People don't have information. They don't have access to information. And it's a responsibility of our leaders to make sure that when they do workshops in the urban areas, they must also come to the rural areas. You know, in the rural areas, you find that an office or a hall is far away from you. Even internet cafes, like the access to information is very difficult. And for women to stand up, yes, they need to stand up, but they need assistance. As for myself, I can say, you know, after I resigned in 2010. I was working in Joburg, and at first it wasn't, you know, I cried. I was thinking of what am I going to do? What am I going to eat? But I came back home. You know, in the rural areas, there's love, there's humanity. You come back, people will welcome you. Even the kids, the old people, you'll be happy. And we still have the support that there are people that are still willing to share. When you don't have something, they will give you. So I can say myself, there are people who did help me a lot to be where I am right now. but still, there are still challenges because some of the people, when you do something, they expect to get something from you, especially the male. I'm sorry to say this, not everyone, but some of them, when you do something, they need to help you. They expect you maybe to do something. They need to sleep with you. They need you to do something for them. Why should they do that? Because it's a challenge that most of the women will tell
Mabore,
you that.
I'm sorry to cut you short. I know you've got so many things to say, and some of the questions, some of the answers you're raising, actually you are way ahead of me, because I was still going to ask some of the answers that you're giving now. So if you can just allow me to ask some other questions, then we will proceed.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mahata.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mohadi. I've heard almost everything you have said, and thank you for holding the fort when I had a bit of a technical cliche. So as we continue, I've seen that Mabure has captured almost everything. It's like, maybe it's because she's a traditional healer. She has already got into my head and captured the questions that I wanted to ask, because she has, captured lots of things. But nevertheless, we will continue with the conversation. Those who just joined in, we are in Khoro Conversation. My name is Makhatla Tepalepale, and your panelists are Mohadi Mabela and also Mabore Morashwa. Mohadi is a businesswoman and Mabore is an author. So now, going back to you, Mohadi, business area is one sector that is very male dominated. Even post 1994, yes, someone can say a lot of opportunities have opened for women. Someone might say we've got a lot of women who are CEOs, a lot of women who have established their own businesses. But that does not erase the fact that we've got lots and lots of challenges for women in business. There's still a lot of gatekeeping in business. Mabore has touched on the issue of male counterparts wanting something in return for helping you. So I just want to ask you, Mohadi, that what are some of the challenges that you cross as a woman, Black businesswoman, knowing very well that, being a Black woman is a constant struggle because you have to prove yourself 100 times more than other women and also more than men. So I just want you to give us, and highlight of some of the challenges that you came across as a Black woman in business.
I always say the challenges are never ending. If we focus on the challenges, we will never ever progress, because you will get so overwhelmed. They completely outshine the disadvantages of any economic practice or any industry. So I could be here all night if I spoke about the challenges. In my instance, the face of a beekeeper in South Africa looks nothing like me. It's a white face, it's a male face, and it is a middle-aged to an elderly face. And that is not the profile that you get when you see me. And already, even if there are Black people, it's people like my father, the very same ones who are in the industry by chance, because beekeeping was never taught to Black people. It was always a very closed industry, only, skills transferred from one family to another, from one neighbor to another within the white spaces. At no point was it intentionally taught to Black people. So already I am facing a dynamic of not having peers, not having, examples that I can look up to. Yes, I've got my father, but I want somebody who looks like me, So already that's a challenge when you are presenting yourself in forums, when you are chosen for an interview, when you have to make an application for whatever assistance you need. It's always, like, who are you? You don't fit the criteria of people who are actually in your industry. Another big thing that is a concern to everybody is land. We are landless as Black people. And I am no exception. I'm from an ordinary family that did not have vast amount of land. I could be fortunate if maybe we would have a huge piece of land, which I would have taken advantage of. But unfortunately, Batswadi Baka tried to get us a better life. We were staying in the urban areas. So the only home that I can relate to is in town. You cannot participate in agricultural activities like beekeeping when you're staying in a residential property in town. So as a result, we are ending up farming without a farm. We have to depend on other people with the suitable land for bees to be able to thrive. And that we are talking about areas like Makgoba's Kloof, if we are to talk about land that is suitable for beekeeping, Mojaji's Kloof, places like Venda. We've got a lot of people from the Vembe district, a lot of Black people who've been doing beekeeping informally, and they were not aware that it's an industry, it's a commercial and viable industry where they can make a living. And you will note that in those areas, land is not cheap, land is not readily available. So that is already a challenge. And then we're not going to talk about funding because I could be here the whole night. And then obviously then we'll talk about capital. We are Blacks, we don't have families with lots and lots of generational wealth that we can tap into to actually start our businesses. So you start from nothing, you literally sell one bottle of honey just so that you can have enough money to make 2 bottles of honey. And that is exactly how Native Nosiwa started. My father was a subsistent farmer. He had no intention of having this beekeeping hobby of his as a business. It was more a subsistence approach where he just wanted enough to feed his family, to take us to school, to make sure we have electricity, to pour petrol in his car. But he never looked at it as a business. So it's not as if I had somewhere else to tap into. So the challenges are many. And then, of course, I'm a woman. I've got a family. I'm someone's wife. I'm other people's mothers. I'm a daughter, and just because you choose to step into the world of business, you are not exempt from all the other duties that all other wives have to perform at home, all other mothers have to do at home. So I think with the challenges, we can honestly be here the whole night, but I always say, you must always find your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? And that should help you to give you the strength to continue to do whatever it is that you want to do, because the circumstances are never, ever suitable.
Thank you so much, Mokgadi. Then, Mabore, as I come to you, the industry that you are in, I can see that you are in many industries. So I'll start with the creative industry, because you are in the creative industry, which in South Africa, every year you've got artists doing the sit-in in the offices of the powers be. You've got, the creative industry itself is not really commercialized. Society has not really understood that art on its own is business. Writing a book, it's business. Selling a book, it's business. Being a poet, it's a business thing. So I just want to ask you, Mabure, that for you, as someone who is in the creative industry, someone who's a traditional healer, and also I'll touch on the issue that, traditional healing on its own is also patriarchal. Every day you read about female initiates being raped by their gobelas. Those are some of the challenges on the surface that women healers are facing. So I want you to answer these 2 questions, that as a Black woman who is in a creative industry that is also male dominated, that is also very locked economically, that is not commercialized the way we would want us to be. And also as a female traditional healer, what are some of the challenges, in summary, that you can say you come across as an individual, particularly a Black woman?
Thank you, Makgatla. Let me start with the traditional healing side. Sometimes if you are a woman, when you go to answer your calling, you leave your kids, some are still young, and you go to stay somewhere where you don't know anyone. And You have to humble yourself. And sometimes the treatment is not that good. You know, bungaka, as like traditional healing is something that you get from your ancestors. They give you that gift. And sometimes we are being judged, especially if you are a woman, like the power that you have, you find that maybe your gobela is a male, and they will ask you to do things that you are not supposed to do. You know, when you go for training, you must go and learn, whether it's the bones or you're using any tool for your traditional healing. They ask you to do things. We see women, they end up being maids in other gobelas households. And there are some, they were beaten, some, there were so many things, some are raped. And you know, traditional healing, there's no, I can say maybe because of, you know, our forefathers never documented how things are done. And at the beginning, when you'll go there, they expect you to do everything. You wash the dishes, the washing, you cook for them, you do everything. So it is abuse. And mostly men, they don't do those odd jobs that we as women are being expected to do. And I think with that, these are the challenges. And if people are not being taught that, you know, when you're initiating people, you have to treat them this way. Some of traditional healers, they don't have education background. I'm not saying I give a hlompi, but there should be workshops to teach them that when you have initiates, you have to treat them equally because they are here to learn. And you find that some of the women, when they come back, they are no longer the same. They have been traumatized, they've been abused and all those things. So with those challenges they are going on, we see our young women going for initiating. Some of them are not even supposed to go there. You go there, you go for initiation, maybe just because you're beautiful, they wanna do something, then you go for initiating. So I need with that challenge, I think, you know, traditional healers need to attend workshops to be taught on what to do. Then coming to the creative sector, it's very difficult, I'm telling you. Sometimes I even say, if Makgatla has got a background, we should take her and put her in the leadership. I'm sure you understand, because most of the creatives are complaining that the people that are in those positions, they don't understand their work. Remember, you do your work, there's a funding that is opening, then they need some things. And remember, in the creative sector, we are not all educated. Some of them, you know, there's compliance now. They're doing those workshops, but those workshops are not coming to us. It's not all of us that can connect online. Why not come to the rural areas? Like Renali Magoshi, Renali Meshate, Renali Dikolo. They should come to us and do those workshops and tell us what to do. Because sometimes the fundings, they open for a short time. They will tell you it's opening, then you must do this and do that. Sometimes you submit, after submission, they tell you that they didn't receive your documents. Then you become frustrated. I remember there was this other time I was helping this other person. That person can't write, can't read, but because is part of the creative sector, she must get benefits like all the creatives, but it becomes a problem because we don't get, I can say some kind of inequality. We don't get the same treatment. And most of the people that are doing those work are in rural areas. So for the creatives not to go and close the offices or do whatever, they must come to us and assist us as women on what to do, especially when applying for the fundings, because some of the people, they've got the work. Then you find that someone comes to you and say, you are doing this. They take your work and sell your work as their own, of which is not right because we can't grow as creatives. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mabure. I see you've got the brief. You've got the briefing. You summarized everything this time around. So Mokgadi, getting back to you, as you were talking about the challenges, I was sitting here thinking that, we post 1994, we have got so many institutions that are put in place to assist business people, to assist women in particular. And also on top of that, in fact, we have so many organizations and so many institutions that sometimes there's even duplication of responsibilities. So I just want to put you on the spot and ask you this question that, do you think our government is doing enough in terms of support to business women in the country?
I know that there are programs that are there to assist youth, that are there to assist previously disadvantaged individuals, that are there to assist vulnerable groups like our disabled people. And I know that there is a move from the private sector, there are institutions which are, made to actually ensure that entrepreneurs get assistance, get support. However, I'm not sure if the bureaucracy that accompanies those policies and the implementers, the people who are supposed to ensure that the assistance reaches the right places and the right people. I'm not sure that that vehicle is as functional as it should be. I know we've got a lot of people who are doing amazing work. My fellow panelist, Mabore, she's doing what we embrace a lot at the Native North. So you'll know that we are very proud of people who are instilling indigenous knowledge and we support them greatly, but I don't know if there is enough in terms of the efficiency of the policies that are placed there to assist women. I believe a lot of times the money has names. The money ends up, in the hands of people who it should not end up in. And I'm not saying it's all bad stories. But we, as a country, which comes from the kind of history that we come from, and we know how much struggle we've had to get to where we are, it is unjustifiable that, people like Mabore, people like Mokgadi, still struggle so deeply to be assisted in terms of getting funding. They'll tell you that they can't give you land in Makgobaskloof, when there is state land in Makgobaskloof, but that if you buy it, then they'll assist you to be able to place resources on that land. How are you going to get 2 million, 3 million, 5 million, 10 million to be able to get the kind of resources you need to be able to function? So just like our constitution, it's perfect. We've got one of the best constitutions in the country. I'm not sure if, the implementation thereof, that vehicle needs a lot of work. I know that because of where we come from, there's a lot of greed. When people are given opportunities to be engines or vehicles to assist, they end up finding opportunities, to pocket resources that are meant to help uplift and emancipate Black people, to move from point A to B, to move from point B to C. I think a great example would be, funds that were pocketed and you could say squandered during COVID-19. That is a classic example of what happens when funds are placed forward to assist people. Not everybody who is there to assist people ends up doing that. If they are identified opportunities to benefit individuals, sometimes and often, unfortunately, that takes over the mandate where our people should be assisted. And this is not, it affects us in business, but unfortunately, this is the canvas that has been painted throughout, whether it's service delivery, whether it's business support, whether it's disaster management. we are not supposed to be in a position where we have to prove ourselves over and we have to know people and sleep with people and, you know, put money somewhere, you know, to wash. It's unjustifiable. We have already struggled enough as a people. And if vehicles are there to assist us, let them assist us without us having to, you know, go the extra mile just to get the assistance. And I think I've painted, you know, just a brief overview of the challenges that we go through in order to get assistance so that we can move from point A to B. And if you're not privileged or if you're not, having the support or the will to move from one space to another, you end up, you know, being another business, another business which did not see its mandate through. Because of challenges that we get when we are trying to get resources to help us to grow and thrive.
Mabore, as someone who is rooted in, you know, in the villages, in rural communities, so, and also myself as someone who's rooted in the villages and rural communities, I have observed a certain culture that women who are already empowered, normally I call it a gala dinner culture, that you have these women who are in high echelons of power. They will call gala dinners where they network amongst themselves. And, you know, and then you have Mabore in Rasifukuni doing a great job, yet she doesn't have information on how to access funding, information on how to commercialize, you know, her creativeness and all those kind of things. So I want to ask you this question, that what do you think should be done to bridge this gap of, you know, uniting a woman who's already empowered and a woman who's on the road to empowerment? So what do you think should be done from your perspective as a woman who's rooted in rural community of Raskukuni?
You know, sometimes when you have a business, or if you are, I can say there's a huge difference when you're coming from a rural area and if you are coming from, let's say, I can give an example as an urban area. And to assist women in the rural areas, like I said, like the resources are not there, but the talent is there and the knowledge is there. And you find that sometimes even the kinds of the events or most of the things that we do in rural areas, they don't have weight like the ones that are done in the urban areas. And to connect those people, I think they should, sometimes I can say, you know, we've got districts, we've got local municipalities. They can start from the local municipality and go to the district and go to the province, maybe with that kind of events. Basadi ba kgone go kopana. Gape ye nngwe ke gore batho ba ba senang di-resources go ba boima. It becomes difficult for them to connect with those ones that are more rooted. And I'm thinking that, like now we have a visual meeting, and I think that can also be used to do that. And sometimes for people that are in Gauteng, maybe they can also invite people that are in rural areas. You know, sometimes do an event just calling people from rural areas that are in business. I can say the business that we do in the rural areas, like Musadi wa Loga Magoga, they look at her and think that that kind of business is not that serious. Whereas we all know that we use those things almost every day. Even those ones that are staying in the suburbs, when you go to their houses, they've got those banale magoga. And I think something should be done whether it's visually or maybe for them coming to our site to do something, they should come to us and assist. We should also go to their places and meet them. Like myself, I sometimes go to Gauteng, I go to Cape to connect with people. And like once you interact with people, that's where you learn how they do things. Then you come home and you've learned something and you start sharing with other people, or you start doing things in a different way. And that could help to put the people that are more, I don't know how to say it, but ba ileng gore ba gonne go tswela pele ba kopantsha le ba ileng gore ba sa hlaelela gore bala ba sa hlaelelang ba gone go emella ba gone go tsoga.
Ke a leboga Mabure. Mokgadi, I think I want to pose this question to you that I always say that us as Black people, we don't have, I know I'm generalizing and I stand to be, unpopular with this view that us as Black people, we don't have a good relationship with money. And I also attribute that to where we come from as Blacks. We were never taught financial literacy, but equally, as much as we were never taught financial literacy, the nervous conditions we find ourselves in, they do not allow us to have a good relationship with money. Where I'm going with this is that a lot of businesses, they crumble, and you go to all the villages, you see the shops that were ran by Black people in the past. They've been occupied by the people who come from Pakistan, people who come from Ethiopia and many other Asian countries. And, I want to ask you that I know that you have opened your business, you've opened the online store, and then you moved to opening a physical shop. And you have opened your shop during tough times in the economy when COVID had everyone by the throat. So I just want to ask you that, how did you survive up to this far? How did you manage to, because like I said, that as Blacks, the conditions we find ourselves in, somebody buys honey and then you're thinking that instead of saving it for rent, you must go and buy bread for the children and all those kind of things. So I know there are challenges, but I just want you, to tell us, perhaps to also assist those who are here as our audience, that as a businesswoman, how did you hold it together up until now to run the business and also to have a good relationship with finances? Because I can safely say that you have a good relationship with finances if you have opened your business during tough conditions of COVID.
The move to the Honey Emporium, I think I highlighted it earlier when you were having network challenges, was necessary. Basically because I was working from home. So the online store, we had a room at the back of the house. It's sort of detached to the house, which was dedicated to packaging the honey and also, recording the orders, calling the couriers, distributing it, doing follow-ups and all of that. And because I've got a family here, when the business was growing and the orders were increasing, it was creating a lot of traffic at my home, and I've got girl children, and I did not want a situation where all the traffic was making them vulnerable to, the ills of society. I wanted them to enjoy their home freely without, having to drag people who were here for all sorts of business activities. And so the Emporium was not for vibes. That's what the youth these days say. It was necessary. I needed a place where I could sell my honey. And I also needed a place where I could package my honey and also be recognized as a business, because people need to trust you. People need to trust the brand. And I felt that the business needed a home which was tangible, which was physical, where, even when someone says, where is your address? Can we come for a meeting? You are able to give them that. So it was a necessary business resource that we needed. And during COVID, funny enough, we were not struggling. As you may know, honey is used for a lot of medicinal properties, and which were very popular during COVID. So I think we were at our peak. Every time where there's a wave, we see sales increasing because people are looking at all the natural remedies that can assist them, and honey is a very popular ingredient in that regard. If anything, I can say we started struggling this year where, the economy was opening up, sales were, taking a dive, and also the economy as a whole was struggling. I think we know the impact of the Ukraine and Russian feud, what it has done for us. And we've seen a lot of great challenges this year. Everything is expensive, nothing is affordable. And honey is a luxury. People are not going to buy honey when they've got other priorities. People buy honey with change, unless it's for a specific medicinal condition. So you don't just buy honey when you can buy sugar. So you must have a reason to buy honey that is mostly attributed to medicinal purposes, or you must be an affording family or individual where you can afford to buy honey as a replacement to sugar. So we have struggled a lot this year, and I will not romanticize it. It has been very challenging, and I think I have mentioned even publicly that I considered closing down the Emporium this year a couple of times. I have tried to keep it going because of two reasons. It is not just a business, it's a family legacy. And on top of that, I employ people who depend on the stipends that I give them to pursue various avenues in their lives. Both of my permanent employees were students or are students, and they were not able to afford post-matric qualifications. And because they worked for me, they are able to then use their money to pay for school fees and better their lives. As a result, every time that I thought it was too challenging for me, I realized that, that my people who are working with me and are helping me advance this dream that I have are disadvantaged, and they depend on the stipend. When I close the Emporium, they are directly affected. They will not be able to afford to go to school. They will not be able to continue to have something to feed themselves and to feed their families. So those were the two main reasons that made me to, consider continuing, even though things were tough. Business is tough. Business is not a child's play. One season things are great, the other season things are not. So those were the two reasons. So the why, which is the family legacy, as well as the fact that it was not just a business, but now I was in charge or contributing largely to people's livelihoods. The option to just close if we have a chance to still fight was not an option. We had to find alternative ways to continue until really we saw that this thing is not working. So even though things have been difficult, the reasons why I had to go were much bigger than the option to close down. So that has been, the history or the experiences of Native Nosi since we opened in 2020 right up until today.
Thank you so much, Mohadi. We are gravitating towards going to the questions and comment section, but before we go there, Maburi, I've mentioned in my introduction that you are so many things, like you do so many jobs, like you are a traditional healer, which is very demanding. I know that you've got patients coming to you. You have a responsibility to assist them with their illnesses, life challenges, and so many things. But also you are a heritage activist, which is also time consuming because it involves a lot of research, it involves a lot of reading and many other things. And also you are an author. you know, when you are an author, you have to sell your books. Your books have to move, meaning that you have to do a lot of marketing. You have to attend a lot of events. You have to show your face, support other authors. But then on top of that, you're also a poet. So I just want to ask, how do you find the balance out of all these many roles and many caps that you wear as a woman? Where do you find the balance in all these things that you do?
You know why I'm smiling? What I do is actually connected. The poems, the writing, the heritage activism is actually connected. Like when I write about something that I know. If I do something for my patients, is something that I know. So like even in my book, I try to put everything together. Even in the poems, whatever I write about is about the things that are happening, like the message that I want to give people or something that I know that I want to teach people. In the book and the music also, you know, my songs, I've got Pula, is like an African child, a plea of an African child to the ancestors to wipe her tears. And I've got Buhabarina, like my book started as a song. It was my first song in 2018. Then I took the song and I was looking at people, like when they listen to the song and I'm here, they will look at me and ask questions. And I wrote a book about it because I thought that, you know, you can be innovative while you are in the arts. So everything that I do is connected. And like with the work, luckily I can balance. I've got kids. I remember, you know, they used to laugh. There was this poem that I got second position. They were laughing when I say ufihlile, then they were laughing. And with that, I also, you know, you can see from the kids that like they were laughing. They were not taking me serious or just because I'm a mother. But luckily, I can say I can balance. My kids know if I'm working, I'm working. Like I attend meetings, I go to events. Like sometimes I will feel I'm tired, but I keep on pushing because I want to make a mark. I want to grow my brand. And now with the book that I've written, Buhabarena, I want people to sit down and write things about themselves. So I still have a lot of work to do. And I do motivational speaking sometimes so that to save the world, use what you have and protect what you have.
Maburi, before we go to questions, I just want to put you on the spot. Can you just give us one of your shortest poems before we go to the questions and comments?
Okay. Okay. I'll do the one Ufihlile. It's actually about COVID-19. I wrote that song, that poem, and it's just like in less than 10 minutes. Ufihlile. Ufihlile bana ba thulare re sa ipikitlamela ka. Mabare ba re a kole ka wene gore phogo o sale ka moshola. O fihla le go tshuba hlaga o paletswe le go tsamisa ka mafateng a matelele. O reng wa hloka molao. O re amogile morekereke a le botsa ta o phete ya tlhaga sa boga molala bana ba sekukune re gakilwe ke mogopo. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I know, like, you know, I'm advocating for your industry to be commercialized, and here I am exploiting you. We were supposed to pay you for this performance, but, you know, there's always a pro bono thing. So thank you so much for the poem. Ladies and gentlemen, those who just joined, we are in Horror Conversation. My name is Makhatla Tsepalepale. I'm your host, and I do have two panelists, Mokhadi Mabela and also Mabure Mogasha. So we're now going to this the session where we'll be taking questions. Our panelists will write your questions and they will try to respond to you as much as they can. But also I'm going to ask that as we ask our questions, we try to be as clear as we can. We try to be, you know, to be brief as we can so that our questions are not lost in the preambles. So, but equally, those who just want to comment, or just to interact with the panelists, they are also allowed to do that, as long as they do not go lolo, as long as they understand the essence of time. So such is very much allowed. So I'm not sure, the Afrikana people, do we have the facilitator for questions and answers and comment session? Afrikana, Martin, are you still here? Martin? Okay, it seems as if we have lost the Afrikana people, but nevertheless, it's not a train smash. I will facilitate the question and answer session. So what basically will happen is that you will raise up your hand, and then I will note you, and then from there we will talk using the sequence of raising of hand. And others can also take advantage of the comment section. Or perhaps let me ask again, Afrikana people, are you here?
Yes, Makhatla, we are here. Sorry, I had
thank you. Thank you so much, technique. Martin. Yes. We are towards the process of question and answer session, but we said we'll also allow our audience, to those who have comments, to give comments, those who want to interact with our panelists to do so. But being conscious of time, we also requested that if you have a question, avoid giving a long preamble so that your question is not lost in the preamble. But also, if you want to give a comment, also try to be as brief as you can. Then I think, Martin, you can take over and note hands, and also allow our panelists to write the question down. I think lead us on this. I'm not sure how are we going to do it. Do we take all the questions, or they take them one by one? So I just want you to advise us, and also to take the whole process of question and answers and comment session.
Thank you, Makhatla. We will open it to the floor. What we're going to do, it will depend on the number of questions. If we are flooded, we will just take all of them at once, and the panelists can write them down. But otherwise, we will open it, and then we will engage as the hands are raised. And also, colleagues, please make use of the chat box if you want to write your question down. It is highly monitored, and your question will be escalated to the panelists. Thank you very much. I recognize Makhoba, Peladi Tlakudi. Please unmute yourself and raise your question. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I have a question to both of the ladies. My question is, you know how people would say, usually the male gender would say, men don't want women that are in leadership, or women that have like higher standards than they have. So I want to know, how do you tackle that? How have you been dealing with that as women who have built good and high profiles for themselves?
Colleagues, I will, for now, allow my colleague, David Matsie, to take over the session to acknowledge the questions from the floor, as I have other pressing matters to attend to. David, can you take over? Are you there?
Thank you very much, my brother. I was able to join in, and thank you very much to the ladies that have just presented their inputs on the topic that we had at hand. It was very interesting. I've learned much myself. So as you've already recognized the first hand, I see that we have Cecil Ratu who also raised a hand. In that fashion and order, may we have the second question? Because I believe they've noted the first question, and then we'll take in the second question and see if we cannot go on a round of 3 and move on to taking the next 3 questions.
Good evening, everyone. This is not actually a question, but it is just a comment. I would just like to thank the host, Me Makgatla, and the platform Afrikana for this virtual meeting. I love how listening to Me Mugadi, how they gave so much information, and everything that they've said gives volume that as women, we should stop being onlookers and we should be more open to engaging in platforms such as these to create networking and growth among women selflessly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. May we move to the next hand that was raised here. I see we have Ra Motswa. My apologies if I'm pronouncing the same name incorrectly. You will be next. We'll have your question.
Hi, I don't think I have as much as a question. I joined late. My apologies. Just a remark from somebody who grew up in the rural areas. Makgatla mentioned that in terms of the store that have been taken over by, what do you call them? Indians or whatever they call them. For me, I'm not sure if our panelists can answer that. My remark is someone that grew up in such an environment where there was a store, as soon as the malls and shopping center came in, right? There was this culture where people were excited to go and buy at a Pick and Pay or a Spar. And then as somebody who owned the small store, you didn't stand any competition. So sometimes you also need to take note of that. I don't think Black people, generally, we are bad with money. If anything, we are very good with money. It's just that sometimes competition is not very fair on those type of market. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think our panelists can take the questions. We had the first 3 hands, but then I think before we proceed with the taking of questions, I'd just like to apologize on the manner in which the foreigners or the Indians were called to see that whatever they are, I think we just need to address them as who they are with a little bit of respect. I understand we may have issues with them, but then let's just, address them as humans as they are. Thank you very much.
Mugadi and Mabure, over to you. Mugadi, you can start answering some of the questions, and also Mabure, you can also follow. So in that sequence.
Thank you so much. I think the last 2 remarks, I can just make comments on them. I will start with Lerato, who said that, women should stop being onlookers and be in charge of creating their own platforms. It is exactly how I wanted to answer the first question. So I will expand more on that when I answer question number 1. And then the third question by Suela, to say that she believes we are not bad with money. However, we lost our space in the community, the villages and the rural communities, when malls and more formal kind of traders came into our spaces. And I just want to talk about agility. It's unfortunate that we have not been formalized in the villages. We don't know better. We know the way that we've been doing things that have been working, and we were not prepared for the industries, the commercial industries that infiltrated our communities and the impact that it's had on the local business people. And I think, you know, going forward, we as Black people, we as rural dwellers, we need to find ways to be agile, and we need to find ways to there's this term called VUCA. It's to be competitive, not competitive, but be volatile and know how to act when circumstances of uncertainty and complexity and ambiguity come in. And, you know, it's unfortunate that if we don't find ways to be able to find our niche, even when our areas are industrializing, our areas are commercializing, we will find ourselves hungry. So I think, you know, now that we find ourselves in a spot where our uncles, our grandfathers, our fathers are no more trading because of these formal tradings or these formal sectors that have infiltrated us. What can we do? You know, my fellow panelist was talking about, you know, using indigenous knowledge or knowledge that has been passed over. We in the villages, we grow products. You know, we can find ways to integrate our livelihoods with that of the formal industries. Grow, use agriculture, use the land, use your hands, use the resources at our disposal to create a relationship with those formal businesses and see if we can become suppliers, you know, because the fact is they're not going to go anywhere. And we need to find our niche within this ever-changing world, because change is the only thing that's consistent. And I know it's better said than done, but nothing comes easy without challenges. So maybe we need to just sit back and see what opportunities do we have. You know, this is not to say we shouldn't challenge businesses that come into our areas without, you know, the necessary dialogue and the necessary community engagements that need to take place before they just take over our villages. But then at the same time, let's use the opportunity to look for niches whenever there are developments that are happening in our area. I will go to the first question now that I've addressed the last two of I didn't get the name of the person who made the comment. It was the lady who said men don't want women in leadership positions. Usayemi, are you still waiting for approval in 2022? We don't wait for approval, we do. And people find us on the way. If you wait for approval, nothing is ever going to get done. And this is not to say that we need to disrespect people or walk over people. You are not on the periphery. If there is something you want to advance, if you've got a passion, if you see that you've got a contribution to make, you make it, you start. Those who approve will approve, those who don't approve won't approve, but it's not your business. Right now, we are in 2022, we don't have time to be negotiating with men, you know, for their approval. They've been operating and they have never ever wanted our approval on the things that they do. So we have a space, we have a voice, we have opportunities, we have information, knowledge at our disposal that we do not have before. If we're now Sayemi, you are going to wait for the rest of your life. It's not about the approval of men, whether they want us in spaces or not. It's about you pursuing what you believe is your purpose and, you know, forging your way. If I was waiting for permission to be in my space, I wouldn't be anyway, you know. And this is not to say, this has nothing to do with men, actually. This is not a comment to say we are disrespecting men, we're disregarding men. It actually has very little to do with them and everything to do with women. We are women, we have opportunities, or we are in a different era, and you have the opportunity now to make a difference or to start doing whatever it is that you wish you want to do in terms of contributing to the economy, contributing to the betterment of our communities and where you live, our villages, the people in our area, the people in our lives. And you have a role to play. You cannot in 2022 be an onlooker and a bystander and a cheerleader. We do not have space for that. We are moving forward. Those who are coming will come along. Those who want to stand and look at us, that is also their problem. But we are not in the business of seeking approval. We are not in the business of getting permission. We're in the business of doing, implementing, making changes. If we fail, it's fine. We fail forward. But we cannot in 2022 be in a situation where we are considering whether we are approved or not. That is not part of the equation. Thank you.
Okay, I'll go to question number 1 by Makoba Peladi Hlakudi. What I can say is the first example is COVID-19. You know, when COVID-19 happened, some of the people were retrenched, especially the male, and people were struggling. And for now, I think things have changed. We have to work, whether men or women, we have to work. And as a woman, I think you are the one who have control of like the kind of life that your family should live. You choose. You don't want to be a makoti who's sitting at home waiting for a husband to give you money at the end of the month. You should do something. If your husband bring 50 cents, then you bring 50 cents, you put it together and do better things. And I think is something that every woman should do. Like when coming to men, I think if you don't appreciate a woman who is hustling or who is pushing something, then you've got a problem. And as Mukhadi said, it's 2022. You know, you can't live in a hut. And like nowadays, like we should do something. Even the land is being sold these days, meaning we have to live because of money. Like people need money. And you can't just sit home and say, okay, I'm a woman. So men who have a problem with that, I think, no, they must go for counseling or something. And for number 2, I'm not sure I'm clear with that. So I will jump and go to number 3. For number 3, when coming to the village stores, you know, we as Black people, we have a problem. If I open a spaza shop, you open a spaza shop. And sometimes we've got this thing of not supporting local. You know, the malls are there. Now a loaf of bread is like 17 rand, 18 rand, somewhere there. Then you don't buy bread here. You drive or you walk to a mall to buy the same bread for a certain amount. And we should learn to support local. And also people who are selling in our villages. You know, if you sell bread, your shop must be clean. You like where you put your stock, anything that you sell. Because sometimes you can't buy bread that is coming from a bedroom. And another thing is a problem. I don't know if it's jealous or competition or is copying. It's like when I open a spaza shop, you open a spaza shop. Our people need to learn to collaborate. Sometimes most of the shops in the villages are very expensive. That is why people decide to go and buy somewhere else. And if it's 2 shops, then, or maybe all the shops in the villages, they collaborate. When they go buy stock, they buy together. Then they're gonna buy at less price. So we should learn to work together. You know, I don't know how to, if I can say we are divided or something, we don't like each other. We must start working together because, you know, people that are coming from out there, they come here with nothing. They start selling. And the businesses are doing good. And they found us here because we are not working together. That is why we are failing. So we must start working together. If I open Tisanyama, don't come open Tisanyama next to me. Sell chicken so that I can buy from you. But the problem is, I don't know if it's lack of knowledge or something. We don't maybe do enough research. We must start doing research on the kind of businesses that we do, not doing the same business. So I think working together is something that can solve the problems. Thank you.
David, are you still here?
I'm still here, my sister. I'm just checking on whether we have any more hands. I'm not seeing any hands being raised from the floor. I've looked into the comments box. I don't see any comments that have been made. I don't know if people have ran out of questions to ask or what. But then so far, I don't see any other question. And I believe that those that have asked questions, if they would have any follow-up questions, whether they are answered to their satisfaction, they may be allowed an opportunity to just, get to re-ask their question and have their follow-up questions. But so far, I do not see any hands or no, any questions that are asked in the comment box.
Thank you.
Maybe
you bringing it back to me. Or you're bringing it back to me.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
You're on mute, Makgatla.
Sorry, yeah. I was saying that when our panelists were answering the questions, especially when Mabri said something about, going to support big retailers instead of supporting local shops, it reminded me of something. I grew up in a farming family. My childhood was mostly characterized by, knocking from door to door, selling vegetables. So there's a story that I always share with people that, me and my younger sister, Mohadi, when we were going door to door, normally we would target these big houses because we thought those big houses, they had a lot of money. So, but we would always be disappointed by their answers. We know Coco, Rerekisha, the beetroot, Rerekisha, spinach, the carrot. Their answers were always like, Rerekile teropon, Roreka teropon, those kind of answers. It was only later when I started to be conscientized, when I started to be a student of Black consciousness, that I understood the impact of those answers, that in fact, I do not understand that whether it's a matter of convenience, that because these people were in town, whether it's a matter of class politics or whatever it is. But I just wanted to give that comment because when Mabri was answering, it reminded me of that. But we are going towards the end of the session. So I really appreciate this platform because it's a very necessary conversation that we should have. As Black people, as Black women, we need each other. And I also enjoyed the 3 comments, especially Sewela when she gave a comment. It was really, I loved that because it was a different perspective altogether to actually say that I said we have a bad relationship with money, and she came and said we have good relationship with money. Those are some of the things that we need as Black people, to have contestation of ideas, not just to agree on anything. So as we are going towards the end of our, our end of our session, I'm just going to give you, before I'm going to give a closing remark, I just want to give our panelists an opportunity. Makadi, I will start with you to give you an opportunity to say that I know that you are surrounded by, strong-willed, powerful women who are by your side. Normally people would say that as Black women, we do not love each other, we do not support each other. But I know personally that I've got a different story to tell. And I know you also have a different story to tell. I just want to share with the panelists, where can they get your honey, and also that you do deliver, whether you deliver or you do not deliver. And you can also give a shout out to, to women who support you, and also give a bit of an advice to someone who would want to start a business. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Makgatla. I'm actually writing in the chat box our shop. We've got an online shop where people can be able to buy honey. We are in 2022, the 4th industrial revolution is here. You can log into our online shop. The link is posted. If you forget it, we've got a Facebook page, Native Nosi. We've got Instagram as well, @NativeNosi. We also have a Twitter page @NativeNosi. You can contact us on any of those. We also have an email address, which I'm also writing in the chats right now, as well as a store number, which you can get hold of during business hours. We are open 9 to 5 during the week, as well as 9 to 1 p.m. on Saturdays, and we are closed on Sunday. I also want to take advantage, I hope I will not be disqualified for this, to say that we are working towards, we are not working towards, we are actually raising funds for the kids of Ponelopili. I know that our fellow panelist Mabori says we need to take people from the village and give them opportunities to be exposed in the city. We are doing that together with Ponelopili, which is a reading NGO, a reading or a literacy club or group in Butokwa. We are taking the kids, we are bringing them to the Native Nosi Honey Emporium. This is a CSI initiative that we will be celebrating on the 8th of October with Salamina Mosese. We will be reading her book. She will be interacting with the kids of Ponelopili, and we are raising funds, guys, so that the kids in the rural villages, the kids who would never have an opportunity to go to Gauteng, can be able to participate in this trip. We are begging, we are pleading, we are requesting all the help we can get for transport, for food, for raising money for books, for refreshments, for everything. If you need information, you can contact both me or Mahata. We've got all the information that we can give, and we just had to make, or I just had to take advantage of this platform, because I believe this is the ideal place where the people can identify with what we are trying to do to dismantle illiteracy and to also give these kids exposure. And then I would like to give a shout out to all the people who always support me. Mahatla, you are one of those from day one. You've been there rooting for me, and you've been popularizing me in your information that you share on your social media platforms to tell people about what I do and to buy my honey. Please, guys, support us, buy from us, visit us, talk to us, engage us. Business is tough, but we are on an upward trajectory to bettering lives, to changing the narrative, to becoming pioneers in spaces where our brothers, our sisters, our mothers, our families, friends could not have dared to even dream, to be in spaces where we are trying to just dismantle stereotypes. So we are not doing this because we are powerful or we've got extra abilities. We are just daring to dream, and we want to take all of you along. And lastly, I would like to thank both Mahatla and the hosts, Ria Leboga. You guys have given us a platform to actually engage on a very, very important topic, which I believe a lot of people need to hear about and a lot of people need to engage in. So thank you so, so much for this opportunity. I forgot that my camera wasn't on. Camera. We thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm very, very honored, and I believe that if you can just take one thing, or if we said anything that would be impactful to you or in anything that you do, I think we would have achieved our mission here for tonight. Thank you very, very much.
Maburi, over to you.
From me.
Oh, Maburi, before you continue, you can also, Maburi.
Yes.
Yeah, you can tell the people the name of your books, where can they buy your book, and also if your music is being sold, where can they buy your music, and also those who are experiencing life challenges, where can they find you? So if you can share that information and also give shout out to all those women who are always by your side. Yeah.
Okay. Firstly, I would like to say Happy Women's Month to all the women around the world. And I would like to thank everyone who's here, everyone who's listened. You know, sometimes when you do something, you not like you're doubting yourself, but you need that support. And thank you so much for your support. The name of my book is Buhwabe Arena. Buhwabe Arena means our heritage in English. and it's written in Sepedi language. I'm the one who's selling the book. Reason being, some of the companies, when you call them to sell your book, you know, they've got excuses. And I'm pushing my book, and whoever need to buy my book is 350, is 148 pages, A4 size with text and pictures. And I deliver via Pexi and Puro. And another thing, for my music play on Thobela FM. And right now, buying of music is, you know, people don't buy music like before, because when you put it online, only few people download. So music doesn't sell that much. I'm not saying it's not working, but on my side, I'm still growing. And another thing, I do motivational speaking, and I go to schools sometimes when they're doing projects to share my knowledge with them, also to teach them about indigenous knowledge, and to also encourage them with other challenges to advise them. And the advice that I have to other women is, do what you love. And sometimes don't wait for people to tell you that whatever you're doing is not right. Do what you love. And once you do what you love, that's when you will excel. People will support you. And another thing is our language, Sepedi language, or I can say mother tongue languages in general, are not respected. When you speak in your mother tongue, some people look at you and think you are not educated or something. So let's promote our languages. Because myself, I wish that one day the textbooks that are being used in schools can be written in our languages, because our children are struggling. So let's promote our languages and make sure that we support whoever that is trying to grow our mother tongue languages. I'll leave my contacts on the chat box. Thank you so much.
As a host, those who just joined in, like I said, my name is Makhatla Tepalepale, and I want to take this opportunity to thank our two panelists for showing up. You know, when you've seen that these are women who are doing extraordinary things. These are women who have got very busy schedules, but they heeded the call. Normally, these are women who would charge people for appearances, they would charge, you know, to speak in events and all these kind of things. But I want to take this opportunity to thank them. When I approached them, when I reached out to them to say that, can we have a conversation with other women and men? Can we attend Khoro, Ekidia Pilejo, to say, Ore, Ari attending Khoro, Ardule Fasi, Joloka Basadi, Re Buleleng, issues that affect us as women. There's someone with red see. Can he be muted, or can he mute himself, please? Redmi 9C phone. David, can you mute the Redmi 9C phone? Yes, as I was saying, that, you know, it's very important that we have these sessions. But I also want to take this opportunity to, you know, to give salutations to women who have, you know, who have been holding the fort, women who came before us. I want to, you know, in terms of authors, I want to salute women like Bo Miriam Kadi, women like Bo Mama Aleta Mutimele. These are women who have been in the writing space before us. I want to give, you know, salutations to Mama Lilian Ngoyi, salutations to women like Mama Albertina Sisulu, you know, salutations to women like Bo Bessie Head, who have been in the writing space. You know, and also I want to give shout out to women who have been holding the fort women whom the cameraman could not capture their faces during those dark times of our struggle, women whom historians could not record their, could not record their names in the history books during those hard times, even during apartheid eras. People who were wounded, they were nursed to life by women. Like I said in the introduction that, it's women who have always been in the forefront of the economy, because when our forefathers were migrant laborers, it is women who remained at home, looking after families, making sure that children eat. So those are women that I want to pay salutations to. Women like Mama Miriam Makeba. Those who know Mama Miriam Makeba, you would understand that this is the woman who could not even come to the country to bury her own mother. This is the woman who was in exile. This is the woman who was doing everything in her power to raise the plight of our country, in Africa and also outside Africa. This is the woman that gave her all to make sure that the, apartheid, that people understand what was going on back in the country when she was in exile. Those are the type of women that I want to pay salutations to. And also women of my generation who are doing lots of work in their communities. I'm a community builder myself. I run an organization called Ponelo Pele Reading Club and Library. It's a literacy movement. But the overwhelming support that I get from women, women who are doing the most. So it's so overwhelming. So, and to reiterate on what Mohadi has said, we do have a program that we want to run. We want to take village children to Gauteng. So please do support our program. Please donate whatever you can be able to donate. But as I conclude, I want to take this opportunity to thank Afrikana for giving us a platform as women, and also to say that may they continue with these conversations. May Khoro grow from leaps and bounds, because this is a very serious platform to give our people an opportunity to speak on issues that affect them on a daily basis. So as I sign out and close this meeting, I just want to take this opportunity to invite people from Afrikana just to close as they have opened. So from me, your host, thank you so much and have a good evening. And to all the women, may you continue to be your sisters' keepers. May you continue to hold each other's hand as we progress and transform all sectors of society. Thank you very much. Afrikana, over to you as you close the meeting.
Good evening. Thank you very much, Sis Makhatla, for a beautiful program we had with you. And I would just like to say that the information and messages shared by the beautiful ladies that were here, who are very much thankful and very much appreciative of what they have done. Thank you very much. Without any waste of time, we have shared messages in the comment box. Please kindly look at that for those that want to follow us on our other programs that we're going to have beyond today, and also where you can find us in terms of social media. We've shared our link on YouTube. You can check us out on YouTube. And then also for those that are here and are interested in also getting constant communication from us, you may just contact me. I've shared my numbers there. You can contact me, then we'll be able to engage and invite you on other programs that we'll be hosting. Yeah, that is all from our side. We really appreciate you for staying with us up until this day. Thank you very much.